Oh, good. Hey, guys, it's Ted Bogert. I need all the help I can get. Welcome back to the TED Show. Super excited to finally have my friend Igor
Spasojevic.
Spasojevic.
Yes.
Gosh, I love the way it sounds, and I'm terrible at it, my friend. To the show, we're going to talk about his podcast. It's RIMM Podcast, RIMM, and you're going to learn what that stands for. Learn about his journey. Looking sharp today, buddy. How you doing?
I am doing great, sir. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I have been following you for a while, and what you're bringing for community, just it's behind the means and
Thank you.
educating the people, educating community together. That's all what it takes, and it takes a lot of guts and encouragement to do that.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that very much. And I know that you are going to do your own, doing your own, and you're going to have the exact, going to have an impact too, because that's how you run your life and your relationships. So, but before we get to the podcast and talking all things RIM podcast, let's learn a little bit about you. So, before we went live, I said the audience loves an origin story. So, tell us a little background on you, my friend.
Okay, so my background, I'm coming from the Eastern Europe, which is ex-Yugoslavia, Bosnia. I came here back in 1997, May. It's almost 25 years. My first experience when I got here and I touched the ground of the United States soil, basically of Florida, I entered to the airport. The next thing you know is huge heat coming out of the, like, man, who lives here? And guess what? I'm still living and breathing until the day today. I'll probably die living here and breathing. I came within a family, my father and the mom, and my brother and sister. In 2001, my sister got really sick with multiple sclerosis, and later on they discovered it's coronary myelopathy. And basically, I saved her life. She was at the total autoimmune disease last 5 6 years, and I've read an enormous amount of the books on the neuropsychology, nuclear physics, quantum physics, you name it. Probably like I don't know even know how many books I read just on that field alone. And I was a pharmaceutical rep, dealing with a lot of doctors as well, and just connecting together. And I came to the point with the legal field and medical field is a huge disconnections. And I said I cannot serve everybody, but this is the key fields that majority of the people don't have a prosperity, don't have a prosper and grasp knowledge. What is me? So then I start to engaging, building my platform since 2012. I believe when me and you met.
Yes.
So bringing just the community and awareness. And I missed in 2008 when the collapse came down. I didn't recognize an opportunity, but I don't want to say fortunately, but unfortunately, COVID came on against and put us against the ball. And I'm like, you know what? Knowing what I knowing, we need to know who is the commissioners. We know who are the job of our commissioners and how they make decisions. They impact each and every of our lives. So I start to
Right.
make them before they even know we are in the 60th episode.
Yes. And so you do a lot of different things, right?
Yes.
Because we're going to talk about what RIM. Well, let's talk. What does RIM stand for?
Okay, the RIM, as
Let's
far
talk
as
about
you, okay, RIM podcast stands for. I originally started creating a group called the Realtors Insurance Mortgage Mastermind because I'm in insurance business for since 2008, and then I came up to the concept: how can I came up with a shorter acronym that a lot of people remembers? And I'm like, you know why? Why don't I just put the rim? Rim, it's a mean basketball rim. All the people, big guys or the basketball players and anybody in that field rim. I'm like, and then what is the rim itself? It's in a circle in, but not full circle. And then how about you remember the old good days when everybody got the rims on their vehicle spinning around? I'm like, wow, that's really good name to call, good name to remember. So like I said, the hardest part is to build a brand.
Yes. So
Right.
tell me what's the purpose? Because if you have insurance as your background,
Yes.
why do you want to have a podcast? Like, what information are you going to be giving out? What do you want to accomplish from it?
Okay, so my undergrad was a sales digital media and the media of the advertising. And I used to work as a broker for so many newspapers like the Orlando Post, Smart Shopper that we used to do like $100 million dropping out, and Home Mag Magazine, the Best of Orlando. So I was came in an intuition like distribution to the audience, and like I said, everybody wants to advertise, but on the other side, the consumers are the one who makes it making decisions. Yeah, we see the product, we buy the product, but we don't know who makes the product, who
Right.
allows this product to put on the market, because we don't want to get to the point that the markets is oversaturated, and then later on I see a lot of recalls on so many medications, so many different things. I want to know who is these key players, and key players, anything that we do, are the legislators. And I start to going around asking, do you know who is your district attorney? Do you know who is your mayor? Do you know who is your commissioner? Do you know who is your city councilor? Seat one, seat two. Majority of the people don't even understand differences, but they are all the same. Somebody called commission, somebody called seat one, somebody calls a woman, calls a man. It's a
Right.
huge misunderstanding. So I'm like, okay, let me start to connecting the dots and asking the mayor, man, where's your job?
And so tell me, you obviously have a talent for connecting people, and I think that's one of the best things you can be when you have a podcast. Are there plans for what platforms? First of all, let me ask that because the
Okay,
audience want to know.
we are huge on social media like the Facebook, we are on YouTube, we are on Instagram, we are on LinkedIn. Now we are growing to the Twitter. We are growing also to TikTok. I don't know if it's gonna get banned here or not. Like in India, we'll see where that direction goes. And then we're gonna tune in into the Apple Podcast and Spotify. I love the video chats because
Yes.
people can see us. I mean, you gotta building the brand to the radio station takes a while. People just see your voice, but when they see you on outside, unless you open your mouth, they cannot know who you are. So seeing you visually works better. So
Always.
our next step is start to bringing we recently just did. I don't know if you are watch or not, but we brought like a neuroscience, neurologist, neurosurgeon, retina surgeon, and we also brought the trauma brain injury, connecting them together. Now I'm going from the parts of the body, so they have some kind of interest between the doctors and specialists. So then we're gonna start to
That's
bring in.
that's interesting to me. Tell me what. So when you bring them together like that, are you're trying to get them to share their information so your audience becomes more educated?
Yes, becoming a more educated. I only said the only thing that you can overcome the fear is a knowledge and confidence.
It's true.
So if you can, I'm like, there's no way you can bring the confidence unless you have a knowledge. And a lot of times, knowledge has to be put up in this in a structured way. A lot of times, when we have a knowledge, it's put in the structured way. So
Yes.
I want to make sure when I bring the doctors, and we have a lot of huge generations, by the way, Generation Z, that so much in depression because they have no public speaking skills. They finish up the college and they just don't know what to do. They believe they are entitled to anything. You're
Yes.
entitled to nothing. You gotta put a hard work, read a lot, and connect with others if you want to share and care within the community.
So tell me what some upcoming ideas you have for who is going to be on your podcast. What types of
My,
guests?
my upper guest is gonna be. I'm gonna start to connecting House representatives. I'm gonna connect the congressman. I'm gonna connect with the local leaders. So together we can share and care. Because like I said, everything starts with the local level. But a lot of times the mayor is totally disconnected for House representative. House representative is totally disconnected from the congressman. Putting them together within the doctors will create a better platform, better education. Instead of working against each other, work with each other. But I learned one thing in being a podcaster. You gotta ask them the same question.
Yes.
Everybody will have a different answer.
Well, I think connecting people is the whole goal for podcasting. I think it's especially something like you're talking about. Are there any big ticket guests that you want to have? Is there like a dream guest or guest that you're trying to get on?
My
Um,
big dream guest is anyone who cares within a community.
amen.
If somebody cares within a community, he builds the followers.
Amen. So
So
good.
yeah.
Where do you get? We have a lot of questions about podcasting. I just recently have even started to refer to my show as a podcast because it's basically where people understand. It's just a video podcast. Um, where would you suggest somebody who has a mission, has an idea, to start up their podcast? What are some of the things that you did that you wish somebody would have told you? Hey, Igor, you shouldn't do that. You should do this. Is there any advice you can give people?
Yes, first of all, you have to go through experience. There's one thing that you cannot buy is an experience. You gotta go through. So when you go through an experience, you gotta know what is the trend out there. What is the people looking? Like you said, if you want to find out about the people, you gotta meet with them.
Yes.
You gotta interview them, and you gotta see. You cannot just interview one guy on the street and say, "Yeah, I got a problem with this." But if you get 1,000 people and you quantumly putting them in the marketing perspective, and then you start to clustering, I say, listen, if there's 1,000 people speaking the same concern or issue, that is a platform. So just don't go over there and say, "Oh, I'm gonna be more successful podcast."
Right.
My friend, when I opened the podcast, I dropped like 4,000 or 5,000 invitations.
It's a constant 24/7. Once you dedicate yourself to it and figure out your voice,
Yeah.
podcasting is so powerful. I think a lot of people just don't. It's a lot of one-dimensional ideas go in, and you really have to have a well thought out plan
Oh, yeah.
that can be continuous. You don't want to have one episode of your podcast and be done with what your topic is, which I've seen a lot of people do. You have to really know like what you want to do by connecting people and connecting and creating that collaborative spirit. That is endless. The opportunities there. But I think a lot of people, I had somebody ask me, they wanted to do one of those unsolved murder kind of podcasts. And I said, well, how much do you know about it? And they said, well, I read this article. And I said, well, have you done any research? You have to have really thought it out and plan it out. It's not something you can just fly by night with.
No, and then you have to be equipped with the knowledge, having conversation with neurosurgeon, cardiologists, gastroenterologists, all of this. You got to be fully equipped with the knowledge to fit with that background, to
That's
fit
true.
with the knowledge. Because you imagine you bringing a neurosurgeon and you don't know anything about the spinal cord and connection, the way it works, and some key medical terminology words that you're like, what the heck is he saying? You're kind of
Exactly.
lost. And people and audience can see that. But if you can engage, it's like, wow, this guy is unbelievable, not just in his field, but he's willing to learn other fields as well. I
And
don't
people
want this.
respond to that.
Yes.
They really do. All right, my friend, tell them the best way they can find out more about you personally, professionally, and where they can find the podcast.
You can find me at our page on the RIMM podcast. If you just put the Facebook, if you put the RIMM podcast, RIMM podcast, you can go on YouTube. If you just go on the Google and put a RIMM podcast, it's right there. And I'm all over there. I'm sharing and caring with community and anybody that I can see that can bring the value to our Central Florida and further. I'm open to it. And I also want to thank you for doing a great shows and bringing all kind of different guests throughout the state and out of the state, connecting them and giving them a hope. That's the whole bottom, giving them a hope and choice and encourage them, go ahead and do it. And I know you for a while. You're a great man. You're a great connector. And everybody that I interview and met and, told about you is that Ted is a great guy. I said, we need more people like Ted.
Oh my God! Thank you.
No
You're
problem.
gonna get me all choked up, my friend.
You're going to have a good Monday.
I'm gonna have a great Monday. I appreciate you. I love your passion.
Thank
I love
you.
the authenticity is what you were sort of referencing earlier. An audience can tell when you don't know what you're doing,
Of course.
but they also can tell when you're trying to BS and they don't like it. They like somebody authentic. So if you're gonna do a podcast, listen to what Igor said because it's so important that you know what you're doing and talking about, or your audience is going to go, this person's crazy and an idiot. And you are the complete opposite of that. You have the passion, the compassion, the empathy, and the ability to connect people. So I'm excited for.
You remember, you have only one opportunity to impress yourself.
That's right.
You have too many things to destroy yourself. So do your R&D, research and the development in advance. Even it takes years to get that one big good show. Impression and perception is everything.
Agreed. All right. Thank you. So excited for your
God bless
podcast.
you.
God bless you. Facebook.com/RIMM podcast. Or, of course, you can find Igor through me. I will tag him in everything.
Yes.
Reach out. If you've got an idea, you should always reach out to podcasters with your
Please.
idea, because you could be the next big collaboration, something we haven't thought of. So get involved and reach out to the one and only Igor. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Have a blissful day, and thank you and your
Appreciate
team for putting this a beautiful platform.